lot of money spent this summer. Zubimendi may be the headline in all of that, but there was a bit of chat about whether Arsenal had bought strongly enough. Does a game like today and squad selection, team selection like today, demonstrate why it was money well spent?
Find a way to win. We all know Zubimendi is a good player. If you watch Spain, you will know that. If you're watching him play before in La Liga, you would have known that. But like I said, Jokeres, we need a 9. That's what everyone was saying. We played without a 9. And I would say also that you play without a 9 and you score 4 goals in open play. And your 10 suddenly comes into the picture because your 9 drops. So you get the 9 dropping for the 10 to go in. And by the way, if I was Martin Odegaard, I said it, this guy is a 10 for me. However you want to look at it. He's not a winger, he's a 10. He needs to be in the middle of the park. He showed it tonight. So that's what you want, healthy competition. That's good.
We'll talk a lot about
Eze,
Arsenal, and we will absolutely talk about Ebere Eze, and we'll hear from him very shortly as well. There's a very quick word on Spurs, because we'll cover them at more depth a little bit later on, but a really disappointing performance, which we will talk about, apart from the fact that Ebere Eze is waiting to talk to Patrick Davison.
Ebere, has football given you many feelings as good as that one?
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Enjoyable day. Happy to help the team and to win today, especially,
Every boyhood Arsenal fan, every fan still left in this stadium would dream of doing what you've just done. How special is it? What does it feel like?
Special, man. I'm grateful again, man. That's what I prayed for. I prayed for it today, man, a hat-trick, and I got it today, so I'm grateful to God, man.
Did you have that feeling today? I saw you at the end, I saw you after your hat-trick goal, kind of pointing to the sky. Did you have that sense today that someone had a plan for you, someone was looking down at you?
That was the prayer today. A hat-trick, and God gave it to me, so
delivered.
Again, that's faith, man.
And I know you're all Arsenal, your family, and I believe you're over there by that over and over again sign, so who else is here from the Eze family to enjoy that?
All my family's here, man, again, so it makes it even more special to do it in front of them.
And of course, had the summer worked out differently, you could have had a different shirt on today.
Let's not speak about that.
I thought you might say that. Pick of the goals.
They're all good, man. I don't know. Maybe the second one, man. That was my favourite.
Why?
Just the timing of it was just the right time, and yeah, man. Honestly, it's a special. All of them are good for me because I know that I've been working on it, the process to get in those positions. So yeah, it's worked out.
The senior hat-trick as well, I think.
Yeah, it is. Again,
two quite a few times. Not a bad time to get the hat-trick.
Yeah, special, man. As I said, words can't explain this one today, man.
Well done. Look, you're the player of the match as well. First Arsenal player to score a hat-trick against Tottenham in nearly 50 years. Player of the match. There's a little match ball down there under your foot, so the old mantelpiece is going to be a bit more packed. Well done.
Not bad, man. Thank you very much.
Well
Appreciate it.
Cheers, man. Well done.
Ebere Eze says that he prayed for a hat-trick today and his faith was rewarded, and he talks a lot about how much of a central part of his personality that is. But can he, Les, as someone who knows him as a person as well as a player, can he have that faith in himself as well?
Yeah, listen, I'm hoping so. There's a lot of people that had a lot of faith in Eze, and he's gone on to do what he said. I said at the start of the show, I feel like since he's come to Arsenal, he's had the handbrake on a little bit. I know there's so much more to come from him. I didn't actually want to see it today, but I did. And he showed what he's capable. And I said, he needs to sort of like embrace it. He needs to come here and say, I'm the man. I've come here to do this. This is what I've come here to do. And we saw it today. He scored a hat-trick. I mean, let's get this right. Arsenal scored 4 goals against... And they didn't get out of third gear. Tottenham were that bad today. It was embarrassing to watch. I was halfway through this game, I was hoping I could go in the box with Michael McIntyre and the rest of them because I didn't want to watch anymore. Do you know what I mean? You can't come to Arsenal and a North London derby and not put everything on the line. I think the manager got his tactics wrong today. He came here to be negative and to sit back and try and hold Arsenal off. And I think that just sent out the wrong message to the players because they just couldn't get out of gear. Arsenal scored the first goal, and that was it. Tottenham were done. You knew it was going to be. We're
going to talk lots more about that performance by Spurs, but of course we're also going to be talking about that Arsenal performance and what that means in terms of the table, because Arsenal have not just benefited from their own performance and result this weekend, but also results elsewhere have gone their way. Bournemouth drew 2-2 with West Ham, Brighton 2, Brentford 1. Chelsea got the win, which means that they're second in the table, as we'll see in a second. Fulham beat Sunderland 1-0. Liverpool going down 3-0 at home to Nottingham Forest. And Manchester City losing 2-1 at Newcastle. Big results in terms of who we might have thought at the start of the season would also be title challengers. Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 2. And then earlier today, Aston Villa beat Leeds 2-1. Followed by Arsenal's 4-1 victory against Spurs. There's still a big game for Manchester United against Everton to come on Monday Night Football. But if you want to watch highlights of what we've seen so far this weekend, just scan the QR code that you can see on your screen right now. And this is what all of that means with one game left to go in this match week. Wolves still with just 2 points from their opening games, and then it starts to get a bit congested. Leeds stay inside the bottom three. They kicked off today for the first time inside the relegation places, and they end the day there as well with 11 points level with West Ham. Into the top half of the table, where defeat for Tottenham means they are in 9th place. That coupled with Aston Villa's win that sends them into the top 4. There you go, above Crystal Palace. They're just behind Manchester City, Chelsea and now Arsenal, who extend their lead to 6 points at the top of the table. And after 12 games, their goal difference is at plus 18. Also a busy night of NFL to come as well. Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams is waiting to tell us about it with Jason Bell. Ebere Eze pretty much in a league of his own today for Arsenal at the Emirates with their 4-1 win over Spurs, in which he got the hat-trick. Really impressive performance from the boyhood Arsenal fan, the boy who was on Arsenal's books as a youth player, left to rebuild his career, spotted by Les Ferdinand at QPR, and now back at Arsenal. A dominant team performance from Arsenal, but a great individual performance from Eberechi Eze, Jamie.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And I must be honest, I think in the summer when Arsenal signed him, and I had my Liverpool hat on, and I looked at the signings Arsenal made, and besides Gyökeres, it felt like a lot of them were to strengthen the squad, really. So where Arsenal had problems the year before was when Saka was out, so they bought Madueke. Odegaard was out, they got Eze. One of the centre-backs was missing, so they got a couple of centre-backs. It was only really Gyökeres who felt like he was going to go into the team. And if I'm being honest, I think if Havertz was 100% fit, Havertz would probably be the centre forward in this team, I think. So when Eze came, I thought, OK, maybe it's not a game changer. And Les knows him a lot better than me. He still said earlier on the show, there's still more to come. But then we've still seen some of his highlights this season. There were still a few great goals in there. And then he goes and scores a hat-trick. So apologies. I think I've certainly undervalued the importance that signing was, because he looks like he could make the real difference for Arsenal this season and go on and win the title. And
apart from the sort of skill in scoring the goals and his overall contribution to the game, the composure, Thierry, was admirable from Eze.
Well, if you looked at Palace before, you would have seen that composure. You know he has that composure. He's calm. The way he speaks is the same way. But what I like with him is the way he, in the game today, he finds a way to be in and around the box, especially on one of the goals. You will see he pulls away from everybody to make sure he can have time to execute, and we all know he can finish. I know he's with us now, but when you look at him at Palace and the way they reposition him under Mateta, suddenly as a 10, he started to see the game a different way with a guy that can play for him. And obviously today was different because he didn't have a proper 9 with him, but that's why I think it was easier for him to get in the box today, because he didn't have the presence of a 9. He was a 9 at times.
Yeah, there was nobody getting in his way. It was him, and he took the goals so well, Les.
Yeah, he did. The first one we see here just gets himself into the position as he says, Timber does really well here, goes into the gap, crosses it. This is not a great clearance from Danso, but here shows his foot movement and then strikes the ball lovely.
VAR did have a look at the Arsenal players. There's a few of them offside here, and whether or not they were in Vicario's eye line. I mean, I feel like the decision we should look at every decision individually. Yeah. But I feel like this would be a bigger talking point if this had been a narrow 1-0 victory.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can't look at this and say they don't impede his eyesight. You look at it here, look. There's no way that doesn't impede his eyesight, but. When up in VAR, there's someone else up there and doesn't think it does. I don't see how not.
But if you go back to that goal, is Zubimendi making a run?
Yeah, look.
And your number 10 shooting. Look at them. You have no 9s. So that's why all that talk all the time that, yes, you need a 9, like you need a goalkeeper to play football, but it doesn't mean that if you don't have a 9, you can't score. As it's been shown there, is Zubimendi making a run in behind first?
Yeah, and as we saw there, Vicario saying that he couldn't see. He was saying he was unsighted. That made it 2-0 to Arsenal, and then Eze got the second, his second and Arsenal's third.
Yeah, just after half time again, and again very similar. This kept happening a lot through the game where Arsenal had outnumber Spurs on that right side, and they'd play it inside, drag the two central midfield players over the side of the pitch. Bentancur, Palhinha, nowhere to be seen on the edge of the box. And listen, it's a wonderful finish. Of course it is from Eze, but this happened continually in the first half. And this is a problem with the system that they played. The space is always on the outside of the two central midfield players. And I'm sure that's something that Arsenal would have spoken about before the game. And it's worked an absolute treat.
Look at the position again of Eze. At the very beginning, he's your 9. And you know who frees him? The run of Declan Rice. Again, you're holding midfielder. If he doesn't make that run, he's intelligent enough to know that he has to go the other way to pull away and then to finish. But he's the 9 at the very beginning once again.
His left foot, his right. His first one with his right foot, that with his left foot, and that was equally as good a finish as the first one on his right foot.
He said in his interview with Pat that he prayed for a hat-trick, and that was it. The first hat-trick in a North London derby since December the 23rd, 1978.
That was a lot of prayers, I guess, because since '78, no one has done that before. You have a lot of great guys that have played in that derby. When you think of guys like the late one, Kane, myself, Ian Wright, I can name a lot of strikers. People will be upset and I forgot some, but it's actually number 10. But for me, on the night, look at where he is. That's your 9.
But I think that's a really interesting point. And it comes back to something that you were saying, I think, across the course of last season and even across the summer, Jamie, which is that number 9 wasn't necessarily the answer to Arsenal's problems. It was about creating chances elsewhere on the pitch.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I never felt... There was always this talk they needed a goal scorer. Of course, they needed to score more goals, certainly last season, to compete with Liverpool. But Arsenal in general play didn't create enough. That was a problem for them last season. So no matter who your striker is, if you're not creating chances for him, he's not there to finish. But he's made a difference with that. And even this season, when we go back to very early on, if you go back to the game at Anfield, that was almost like the Arsenal of last season. Very strong defensively, but not really looking like scoring, going forward. And I don't know if can't remember exactly. Was Newcastle the next game after that? Or I think Eze came in basically rather than... There's a lot of criticism around Marino playing, I think, at Anfield instead of Eze. Eze comes on late into the game. And then I'm certain Eze plays at Newcastle away. And you just felt like there was a difference. Yeah. And it just feels like his introduction, his sign, which I felt, to be fair, would just be something that would be to sort of back up Odegaard. Odegaard's out at the moment. But as you said before, Odegaard's got a real fight.
And you know that I thought differently. I said to myself, first and foremost, he's a 10. And Martin Odegaard will have competition. And when you're at a big club, as it should be, you would have competition. In your time, in my time, if you have an hour. If you don't score, Kanu comes on, Wilton comes on. At the very beginning, I had to find a space to make sure that I could make myself available and make sure that I could perform for the team. But like I said, for me, he's a 10, and I say it again.